We've now been joined by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Toyota. And Denny, before we go to questions from the media, I just want to take the time to thank you for speaking with media last week in Homestead after you exited the care center. I know those situations are not always the most enjoyable, but we appreciate you doing so. We will now go to questions from the media. If you have a question for Denny, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you, and we will start with Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. If NASCAR hadn't banned the Hail Melon, would you have considered it if you needed the points this weekend?
I mean, you'd almost have to do it, right? Because others probably would. I mean, it kind of depends on your situation, too. If you needed a couple points, which I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, it just wouldn't have been pretty because everyone knows the big advantage that you get. You'd have just 36 trash cars after the race, and I don't know that'd be that I mean, maybe it'd be exciting if everyone did it for, one time, but no, it needs to live in history in 1 year for sure.
And I want to follow up. If you do get eliminated this weekend, is it worse getting eliminated because of a mechanical failure last week or by a move like the Hail Melon a year ago?
I don't know. I mean, they all feel about the same, honestly. But yeah, it's unfortunate, right? The circumstances are unfortunate, but I certainly would rather be in Blaney's position, but also I know that I can be on full offense for the entire race this time around. I don't have to play D. I don't have to be a little bit more careful. It's just one mode right from the get-go. So yeah, I mean, it's just this is part of the format that unfortunately is out of the driver's hands when it comes to this type of racing. There's a lot of different factors that goes into it, and whether it's a Hail Melon move or a mechanical or whatever it might be, it still equally stings for sure.
All right, we're going to go Jeff Gluck, Kelly Crandall, and then Bruce Martin. Go ahead, Jeff.
NASCAR hasn't gotten what they wanted yet out of the short track with this car. What are the next levers to pull from your perspective, and from a team owner's perspective, what would you be willing to spend money on to help them pull those levers?
Good question. I don't know. I think that we probably need to be partners in everything. So, when it comes to, rule changes, things like that, I think it's a 50-50 thing. It's what I would like to see because, we really didn't fully design this car ourselves. And, if we have to go back and fix things, then, it certainly the burden does fall on us. I think the easiest lever, and I'm not really sure why we haven't done it, was, I think Doug Yates even mentioned we can go to 750 horsepower tomorrow. We can. The parts and pieces won't change if we just open up the tapered spacer to 750 like we had year before last. Is that right? So, I think that that's the quickest thing, and then, work on the gearing. The gearing is not going to be an easy fix, and I know I specifically harp on it quite a bit, but it's not going to be an easy fix. Even NASCAR presented to us kind of some options to not having shifting here at Martinsville, but there's too many other factors. There's always a cause and effect, right? So if you don't shift, our RPMs would be so low in the middle of the corner here. We would never wear out a tire. It would just be so low. The horsepower and torque would be so low that by the time you get to the straightaway, when you wound out the RPMs, it would just that's not an easy fix either. That's not going to fix it by just dropping the gear. So it would take time to figure it out, and certainly there's a lot of smart minds that are trying to figure it out. Certainly, in my opinion, it's not an aero situation for sure. We're going to run quite a bit different tire this weekend that will undoubtedly be very hard to pass because of the speed it runs with the lack of fall off. So I don't know. It's tough because we've cut 300 horsepower out and we've added grip. And anytime you do that, there's more on throttle time. The key to better short track racing is off throttle time, and no one really has a great answer to how to do it.
All right, Kelly.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Gabe Hart said earlier this week that he told you at Martinsville when you climbed out of the car, that when he leaned over and talked to you, that the message was, go get me a clock. You two have done everything but win here together. Would it be, as he said, kind of picturesque to, if you had to go out and win this race on Sunday, to cross that off the list for him, and then that be the way to finally advance to the championship race?
Yeah, I mean, short of the very first time we came here in a next-gen car, Chris has given me some very, very fast cars here at this track, and didn't win for different circumstances. That is so-called racing. I mean, that's just part of racing. You can't always dictate the outcome, but yeah, he has done a great job of giving me cars, and I certainly I would more than happy to let him take that clock home and set it in his living room or bedroom, wherever he cares to put it. So absolutely.
When you look at the spot you're in, it's of course not where you want to be. You said you'd rather be in Blaney's position. The fact, though, that this is going to be decided here at Martinsville, considering you've dominated the last 2 fall events, is this almost best case scenario for you, that it's going to come down to this racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think, the ball's in our court, right? We can decide our own fate if we just win the race. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was just based off of speed and things like that, but there's a lot of other factors, but certainly I can't think of a better racetrack that fits me and my style and my team.
All right, we're going to go Bruce and then up front to Lee. Go ahead, Bruce.
Bruce Myron with Speed Sport and Forbes Sports Money. How do you separate Denny the driver and Denny the team owner this weekend? Because there's a lot at stake for you on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, certainly. The way I see it, I got 2 shots to get in the Final Four. I certainly would rather do it on the driver's side because there's going to be far less opportunities left to do that than what it would be on the owner's side. But also really happy that team has worked its way into a position that if it performs well, it could get in as well. But this weekend, unfortunately, they are competitors, and I treat them as such.
And when you look at the progress 2311 has made since it started, to be in this position in 2023, how impressed are you by what you've been able to help put together?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with them and that whole, competition group over there and what Billy and Booty do week in, week out with Dave Rogers and Wheels and all those guys. They do a fantastic job. And, the few of the meetings that I really don't get a whole lot of invites to, but sat in on a couple times, was very, very impressed with what they do and their preparation and how they prepare for each and every weekend. So I'm really happy to see how that team's progressing, and certainly believe that they're on the right timeline that I set out for them.
All right, we'll come up front to Lee, then Dustin, then Danielle. Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, catchfence.com. Last week you kind of sounded resigned to, if you don't win the championship, it's not the end of the world, because at this point it doesn't really reflect what you've accomplished throughout the course of the entire season. Gabe Hart basically said similar, he said similar things during the crew chief press conference the other day. My question to you is, how could you find a balance between the two where you still have the excitement going into whatever the season finale is or where it is, and still reward a guy for 36 races?
Yeah, it's a tough balance for sure. I mean, don't get it twisted. We still that's our goal every year, is to make the Final Four. That's we want to win a championship, but you got to win a race to do that. You've got to have a good series of events happen through the first city 36, and then really these 3 race seasons that we have leading into it. It is tough. I mean, I certainly know championship will not change how I view my career and what I've accomplished. It will only change and probably not change what others view of me. I mean, really, that's the only difference that a trophy would bring. I actually saw this week where someone asked Kyle Larson, well, how's winning a championship change you? He's like, nothing at all. It's a change of nothing. Mark Martin, you hadn't won one. What does it change? Nothing, right? It is what it is, and you just, even on the local short track level, I always said, I didn't care about the accomplishments. I just wanted to be a threat that the competition saw each and every week, that if we're going to win, we're going to have to beat him. And when you hit the racetrack, people grab the stopwatches. That's the respect amongst the competitors that I hope to gain throughout my career, and I feel like we've gotten that. And sure, I'd love to have the accolades. I really would. But I certainly am not going to get too down on it because, this racing has afforded me a great life and a great retirement plan with 2311. I love the sport, and whatever the outcome is, it is. But I'm certainly going to give it my all and not regret any one thing that I've done and any result that has happened, because I know that I've gave it my best effort for sure.
All right, Dustin. Microphone to Dustin, please.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. For somebody like yourself who's a sports fan, I'm assuming that you probably enjoy watching other athletes perform in pressure situations or high-stakes situations. So as you find yourself, obviously you've been in other high-stakes situations, but how do you look at this weekend? How do you embrace, I guess, the opportunity?
Yeah, there's an opportunity here, right? Certainly we've had our backs against the wall in these situations where we've kind of needed to win, or we've really needed to gain a lot of points to make it to the Final Four. And historically, we've done really well in these situations, short of, Ross's move last year. We were behind and dominated, and we're well on our way. 2019, winning at Phoenix to get in. We've done well, so I love those opportunities for sure. I wouldn't choose it over being ahead, like I said, but certainly there's an opportunity there to kind of show what you're made of.
You talked about, obviously, the 45 and the opportunity for him and looking at him as a competitor. So this obviously isn't the first time you raced against him, but it'll be the first time to race with such high stakes. So how do you, I guess, approach or put into your mind what you might have to do and understand what might be the ramifications or how far you might have to go if it comes down to a situation with you and the 45 for the final spot? Can you do something super aggressive that then you have to go face them in the competition meeting on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you think about all that stuff, but that's so many what ifs that, like, I would be losing focus on what I can control. Those are split-second decisions when they do happen. Like with Chase Elliott in 2017, that was a split-second, panic mode of like, this is my only shot to make it. I got to do it now. And so things change when you're in the moment for sure, and you don't always think 100% clearly. But if you come up with a plan beforehand, it helps your IQ in that moment because you have thought through it. But yeah, I mean, I understand both ways, right? With the 45 and the 11, and if we're racing each other and he knocks me out of the way, man, it'd be hard for me to say that, hey, you shouldn't have done that, because he's racing and the other way around as well. I mean, certainly I wouldn't expect us to wreck each other, but we're competitors and we're both fighting for what would be dreams of both of ours.
All right, we'll take our final question from Danielle.
Danielle Trotta, SiriusXM. I was interested in the kind of reverse dynamic of that as Tyler Reddick fighting you. Is there anything that he could do as a competitor if he needed the spot at the end that would kind of hurt the driver-boss relationship? And I think big picture, he's never made it out of the round of 16. Can you speak to his progress this year and what he's done year one and your chances of what you think he could be on the precipice of doing?
I would say offhand, there's nothing I can think of that would hurt the driver-boss relationship. I think Tyler's been a very fair teammate to myself and Joe Gibbs Racing teammates and his teammate with Bubba Wallace. He's been, better than I ever expected, honestly. As far as being a teammate and being someone who's all about the team. I understand the stakes this weekend for him and his team, and I understand that it's different because we are competitors. But no, I certainly him coming and going as deep as he's going so far in this playoffs is really a testament to not just him but everyone at 2311 and what they're building week in, week out. I don't know how many weeks in a row that one of those cars have been the fastest in practice, and they're on kill right from the get-go, and so they really got a lot of speed, and that's what we look for, and it's frankly, we as a team have probably let Tyler down more than not, in him not having more race wins, which would essentially be putting him in at this point. So he's carried the team They've done their job here in the playoffs of really executing well, and he's finding himself in a decent spot. So, good luck. I hope you finish second.
All right, Denny, we appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck this
All
weekend.
right, thank you.